In today's free enterprise system, two unforgiving truths prevail: the big eat the small, and the quick outmaneuver the slow. My name is Peter Baldwin, author of the Amazon bestseller, Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs. My passion is helping everyday entrepreneurs grow their companies from inconsequential to extraordinary. Whether I'm in the boardroom, the conference room, or the war room, I am always working shoulder to shoulder with many great entrepreneurs. In this show, we interview successful entrepreneurs, learn from business thought leaders, and pay attention to current events and trends and how they impact our businesses. Join us as we demonstrate that the American dream is still alive and well to those courageous enough to take the journey. This is Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining us for our first episode of Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Peter Baldwin. Our goal with this show is to celebrate with and learn from ownership teams of small to medium-sized businesses. These types of companies are usually privately held, family-owned, and often very entrepreneurial. Added together, they employ half the country. They are the lifeblood of the free enterprise system and often a seedbed for great innovation. Unfortunately, small to medium-sized businesses are at a disadvantage to large companies. Their budgets are smaller. They are much more vulnerable to negative consequences from self-inflicted wounds and from factors outside their control. They don't know what they don't know. The small must learn to act big. They must use their limited resources wisely to compete with big companies. They must be nimble, or they risk being crushed or even swallowed by larger companies. Our goal with Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs is to show you real-life examples of entrepreneurial success. Whether you are a current or aspiring entrepreneur, an employee, or a family member of one of these companies, a service provider, or anyone else who works with small to medium-sized businesses, this show is for you. I wrote the book Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs to help small companies avoid common financial management mistakes and improve their performance. I hope you read it, as it may very well save you considerable time and money. This show, which shares the same name as the book, is not specifically a financial show. We cover a wide variety of topics in all aspects of business. Today's topic is creativity and competitive advantage. Our show rundown includes a special report by Elizabeth Baldwin from an Amazon fulfillment center, an entrepreneur team interview with Gary and Susie Cravens, CEO and President of Advanced Components, a Chalk Talk educational moment with Nelson Valderrama, CEO of Intualize, and a visit with Hubert Zajac, CEO of Health Wildcatters.
Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs is brought to you by Intualize, unlocking the power of your business data. Dot Connect, connecting the financial dots of your enterprise, and WealthWave, disrupting the financial planning industry so families can dream again.
Consider using our sponsors, as each is among the best in their respective fields. Let's go next to our field report with Elizabeth Baldwin.
I'm standing outside the Amazon distribution facility in Coppell, Texas, where you can see a thriving beehive of activity as large trucks deliver customer orders from a catalog of over 12 million products. Once these orders are filled, the many packages will be sorted and sent to the many delivery centers stationed throughout the Metroplex. Amazon is quite a success story. The company didn't amount to much back in the late 90s, and there were many experts who believed it would become another failed internet company with not enough revenue to justify the expenses. But just look how times have changed. Now Amazon is the undisputed market leader in online retail sales, and its founder, Jeff Bezos, is among the richest business titans. This year, Amazon revenue is approaching $400 billion, and there are over 110 active fulfillment centers in the US alone. This once little company is now a giant. Amazon now has the power to crush its smaller competitors by lowering product costs and expediting delivery times. The thought that you can order a product online and have it delivered to your doorstep that same day has revolutionized package delivery and raised consumer expectations. Many small to medium-sized businesses have a love and hate relationship with Amazon. Consumers are trained to find what they need on Amazon, so many businesses, even industrial businesses, choose to sell their goods on Amazon. But then Amazon proceeds to beat up its vendors over pricing, and Amazon's payment habits to vendors and its return policy from a vendor perspective can be less than desirable. So, as a business owner, you may have to learn to coexist with Amazon in an imperfect relationship. But it really is an imperfect world, isn't it? With this part of your world being rocked by Amazon. Just look at that flurry of activity. All of those trucks and deliveries, it's an amazing sight indeed. I'm Elizabeth Baldwin, and this is Profit Peak News.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that terrific report. Amazon really has disrupted the business landscape, and hopefully the smaller companies are taking notice and responding well in this changing landscape. Coming up after a word from one of our sponsors, we'll meet Gary and Susie Cravens of Advanced Components.
For most small businesses, managing books, cash flow, and making informed decisions is a serious challenge. This is because of lack of an all-around team, information, and technology. The right solution has to be with a good mix of people, process, technology, and methodology. With a proven model to deliver results, .Connect's value proposition helps small businesses to run finance operations like the big corporations, with seasoned team and technologies, in-office and remote. Connecting the dots across finance functions, Connect is the trusted advisor for small businesses to manage finance and accounting better and cost-effective. You can reach us at info@.connect.io.
If you've not heard of Advanced Components, they are an impressive distribution company with a 50-year track record. In terms of revenue, they are one of the largest women-owned businesses in the Dallas Metroplex. We are privileged to have with us Gary and Susie Cravens, President and CEO, respectively, of Advanced Components. So Susie and Gary, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Very excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Oh, this is great. So tell us about Advanced Components. What does your company do, and maybe a bit of its history?
Okay, well, Advanced Components was started in 1972 by my father, Doug Berry. He was a manufacturer's representative, and he was offered a master stocking agreement with this company. He then started Advanced Components. So now we are a second generation family-owned business. We sell industrial fasteners.
Been doing it for almost 50 years now, so we're pretty proud of that.
Yes.
Terrific. And so the fastener industry must be its own unique industry, and it's industrial business-to-business sales. So has your industry and company been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, it's a supply chain industry, right? So we're kind of the middleman in that. We represent manufacturers who are manufacturing these various components, nuts, bolts, screws, clips, inserts, et cetera. And then we supply other distributors that ultimately end up in automotive assemblies or lawn and garden equipment. They're end users that touch people's everyday lives. I mean, refrigerators, golf carts, lawnmowers. So absolutely, when COVID hit, especially in that second quarter of this year, and people were out of work, and a lot of people were sick at home, and the economy was dramatically affected. So absolutely, some things changed really quickly, and the supply chain responded accordingly. The good news is since then, there's been a lot of news in the press that people have seen that it sort of rebounded, and our business has returned to a pretty normal state. So things are pretty good right now.
Well, what happens too is in a situation like this, when people are stuck at home, what have they done? They've bought washers and dryers and refrigerators and freezers. And a lot of our fasteners will go into the white goods such as that.
Yeah, so for you, you've seen consumer behavior change, and it always hasn't been for the worse. It's been something that's helped the industry. So talk about the importance of preparation before the pandemic hit. What are some things that you do on a regular basis as a leadership team and as a company to help make sure you're prepared for these types of events?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think that in general, we were better prepared than a lot of some of the competitors that and even some of the other businesses that we interface with on a daily basis. I mean, we took a look at, we've always done this over the last 10 years. We consistently work with our leadership team and with our suppliers, and we look at the infrastructure of the company. So we've made investments in technology. We, last couple of years, we took our servers and went out of the building. Part of that was we were thinking like tornadoes and rainstorms and roofs leaking. We never thought that it would be something like COVID, but it really worked well. We took all of our computers, from desktops to laptops, so that people could be mobile, and we thought it would be just a little more flexible, but we never thought that everybody would be working at home. But because we were proactive in that aspect, it really worked out that we were prepared for that.
And then this transition to remote working was doable. It didn't upset the company for a sustained
we were really
time
prepared
period.
For it. Just being proactive and trying to be we always have this mantra of the best equipment, the best people, the best training, the best technology. And you don't know what's coming always, but by being prepared and being willing to make those investments and having the best equipment and technology, you're prepared for things that you don't necessarily know are coming.
And another thing we did was we tested it. I mean, we bought it, we planned for it, and we tested it. So we sent people out, we sent people home in groups. And everything was tested, and then suddenly, boom, and they were at home like overnight.
Wonderful. You mentioned your people. So turnover at Advanced Components is relatively low, which tells me that the people generally like to work there. So what is your hiring philosophy, and what would you tell business owners, how to think about their people?
So, we drafted a document that we called, how we hire. So when we're hiring people, we actually share that with them so that they have a sense of what it's going to be like to work at Advanced before they come on. And somebody told me this a long time ago. It's hire slow, fire fast. So we have a strong culture. It's not an easy place to work. The work we do every day is pretty basic. It's entering orders, it's packing boxes, it's shipping, and it seems pretty straightforward, processing invoices. But because we have such a high standard for excellence, it makes it a pretty hard place to work. And we have a very strict set of processes, and not everybody can really function in that environment. So we train a lot. We have a lot of support. We do a lot of training.
We also hire in committee, which is nice.
Right.
So we have a team of people who meet that possible employee, and then we will even have them meet the group of people they will be working with and get their feedback. So it has to be a good fit for the team as well as for the management team.
Absolutely.
Well, I am curious to ask, as a husband and wife operating the business, so we've got some family element going on here.
And a sister-in-law for him.
And a sister-in-law.
And a daughter.
Also an owner. And the third generation, a daughter involved in the business. Talk about the family dynamic, and how do you keep work life separate from home life, and how do you all get along in the end?
Well, I'll address that in the beginning. In the beginning, there was a huge learning curve. I mean, we both worked. We've always been in the workforce, and we always worked separately for different companies, as well as my sister. And my sister is super creative, and she's a photographer. She worked for a newspaper. So she came in knowing a lot about creativity, but not a lot about business. So we almost had to like draw a line in the sand and say, this is your side, this is my side, and we'll talk about it in the middle. You know, we will confer, but like, don't cross my line. And just to keep our marriage like whole, we talk a lot, but we don't talk about business at home. We keep that for when we're in the office.
And I think that's really good advice that many should think about. So Susie, I understand you are involved with an organization, Women in the Fastener Industry.
Yes.
So tell us about that organization.
Okay, very excited about that. You know, the fastener industry is very male dominated. And my sister actually started this organization. We go to conventions, and I would say 95% of the people there are men. Fasteners used to be a good old boy industry. They sell fasteners and they have a good time. So when we were there, we noticed that there was a lack of women and that we never really had a cohesive bonding. And so my sister started Women in the Fastener Industry, and it is a sisterhood of women in all different parts of our industry, all different branches of the fastener industry. You know, fasteners do hold the world together. So there's many fastener people out there, and we educate, we scholarship, and support women in the fastener industry.
Terrific, and it's all about providing access and opportunities, and so thank you for doing that. So a walk through your office space and warehouse advanced components really brings out that there's a history to the company and that it's a workspace that's thought out, it's attractive, that it's a place that people want to be at. So share with us a bit about why teaching company history is important, and then also the part about the workspace, about having an attractive place to work.
You know, I just feel like that you spend 8 hours, 9 hours a day there. You spend more waking hours in your office than you do at home. And it's always been important to us to make that investment, to have this high quality environment with lots of communal spaces where we have a really nice big break room. We have some little cubbies with some beanbag chairs where people can kind of take a break in there. Got some quiet spaces. We have a shower if people want to go out and take a run at lunch, or if they go to the gym and want to get to work a little early and shower, not have to go home. And some people have used that. Made a really big investment in super high quality furniture that's well designed so that they can have quiet, but enough kind of a bullpen where they can share ideas across the space, but turn their head and still have privacy. So
right, and we were very lucky the way we designed our offices. Our cubicle spaces are COVID compliant, and we've had to make no change. And they are still, when they come back, they'll still be very much in their own space, but able to communicate with each other. And the history, advanced components history, is all over the office. From a conference room called the Doug Berry Conference Room, and there's a picture of him in there.
Your dad.
My dad. My sister has her photographs of fasteners all over the office. I mean, we have a whole shelf of just old advanced components and fastener memorabilia. And a lot of people are very proud to be able to work for a company that's been there for so long. And our offices are state of the art for the fastener industry. I mean, people walk in there, they are impressed, and our employees are proud to be there. So it means a lot to us.
And this concept of an attractive workplace that instills creativity, Susie, you bring that creativity in other places. You have a love for cooking, and you are the Cookie Man champion for the annual Dallas Morning News holiday competition. How many years have you
I think I won it for 7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
Yeah, lost count already.
And I've placed in other cookie, different categories.
And you were on a national cooking show.
Well, I was on the Christmas Cookie Challenge on Food Network.
And you enter oft times into the Texas State Fair.
A lot, yes.
So how did you come to manifest your creativity in cooking?
Well, I was a cookie decorator long before cookie decorating was cool. And I just always dabbled in it. When we came to Advanced Components, I had just come from a job that was a very creative type job. And it was like I turned crafts into fasteners. Mm-hmm. And my sister is very creative. She's a photographer. Our grandmother was creative. So you just continue with that creativity. We encourage our employees to be creative. You know, we have, if you think about it, we have a jeweler, we have a musician, we have a lot of people who have incredible creative pursuits at Advanced Components, and we really, really encourage those. And the people at the office, they get to eat the food that I enter at the state fair after I come back with it.
And tell our viewers, what's the secret to the perfect Christmas cookie?
It has to taste good and be pretty.
Thank you, Gary and Susie Cravens, for spending your time and sharing your experience with us today. So you gave us a lot to think about and nibble on. We wish you all the best as you continue your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Gary and Susie Cravens make a great team, don't they? It was an honor to have them as my first guest. Next up, after a word from our sponsor, we'll meet Nelson Valderrama, who will share some ideas on how businesses can gain a competitive advantage.
As a mid-sized industrial distributor, you run a machine with plenty of moving parts. From sourcing to inventory management, sales operations to cash flow hurdles, optimizing every facet of your business can be an incredibly tall task. That's why we build Intualize. Designed by industrial distributors for industrial distributors, Intualize is a predictive analytics platform that captures and organizes the mission-critical data you need to maximize your business's growth and cash flow.
My name is Nelson Valderrama. I'm the CEO of Intualize, and I wanted to talk today about competitive advantage and technology. When you hear these two words, you may be thinking about hardware or software. But today I'm talking about talent, something that we have in all our companies. So why talent matters for a competitive advantage? It matters because it creates a positive customer experiences, because allow you to protect your business and help you out to outperform your competitors. How this is happening? Well, this is happening because companies around the world are seeing talent as the lasting competitive advantage that you can have. Let's see, for example, sports. We can see in soccer, teams paying $100 million for players like Ronaldo or Messi. We can see as well in American football, the Chiefs paying $45 million per year for Mahomes. Or in basketball, you can see Curry or LeBron James doing $200 and $250 million per year. So my point is talent matters. And these companies know that having an A player in their team is very, very important. And it's important for you as well. So you all thinking, Nelson, but I'm not the Lakers, I'm not the Chiefs, I'm just a small, medium company. How this translating to that? Well, What I'm trying to tell you is that there is talent in your company that will make the difference. So let's talk about that. Talent, pretty much, you can put it in two buckets. One is retain, other one is attract talent. So let's talk about retain talent, which is something very important. In 23 years of experience, what I found out working with companies, consulting and coaching them, is that always in a team there are always A players, and there are always people that are really, really good at doing something. And sometimes what happens is that we as leaders are not leveraging that. We're just allowing things just to happen. So my recommendation to you is use some technology to surface those opportunities. You can use some online tests such as Desk or competency models, and they are for free. You can pay for them, but this will allow them and allow you to understand what are the talent, what are the hidden gems that you have in your company that can help you out. So let me give you an example. In the company that I'm working right now, we did a couple of tests, and we talked with the employees, and we found out that people that were working on the operations side, they were really good at talking with customers, and suddenly they become into the part of the team of the sales team. Then another people that work in operations, they were really good with numbers, and they love to have a lot of things very organized, and they were able to expand the responsibility in finance. So that's the talent, and you have that talent in your company. It's a matter of you taking the time and putting a plan together to make that happen. Let's talk about the second one, how you attract talent. So before going to the technology side, let me share a couple of tips with you. The first one is that if you are trying to attract high caliber, you need to think about what those prospects will look into your company and you as a leader. So if you are saying in your job posting, we are a dynamic company and we are a forward-thinking company, but those prospects or those candidates will look into your website and your LinkedIn page, and they will find just as a digital brochure of your company, it's very hard that high caliber talent will be attracted to that. They will be more attracted to companies that are more forward thinkers, if that's what you want to hire. Let's talk about the second thing, which are your values. And this is quite important. Talent is attracted by values. So they want to know what are your values, what is you standing for. And that's something that really operates as a magnet for high caliber talent. So now let's talk about technology. Which technology can you use in order to attract talent? You can use LinkedIn, not just to post your openings, but as well to see what people does and how they are related with other ones and with different communities and interests. The second one is Indeed. You can post a lot of openings here, and it's working quite well for a lot of companies. And the third one is Upwork. So Upwork is something that you can use to augment your staff, or if you have a small project or you have a lot of things to do in a short period of time, you can find a lot of talent here. Again, this is very important. For you to have a very lasting competitive advantage, talent is the key, and you have those people in your company to do it. Thank you very much. This is Nelson Valderrama.
Those are some great ideas, Nelson. Thank you for putting that together. Coming up after a word from our sponsor, we'll take a tour of Health Wildcatters with CEO Hubert Zaitchik. Today we're at Health Wildcatters, and we've been invited by their CEO, Hubert Zaitchik, who's going to talk to us about creativity and collaboration. Tell us about Health Wildcatters.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Peter, for having me. What happens in an accelerator? This is a healthcare-focused accelerator is that we pick from hundreds of startups that apply to us and then take roughly 10 into a program once a year. We make a small investment in them. But more importantly, they come to us for a 3-month program. And so during this 3-month program, they spend time with us. And obviously in 2020, everything went virtual. But under normal circumstances, this space here is what creates a lot of the collisions that we want to see during those 3 months to enrich and grow the companies.
How about this idea of creative space and creativity, promoting creativity in a company and maybe even collaboration? How do you do that at Health Wildcatters?
Yeah, so we have a really fun and interactive space here. Right now we're in the pitch room, which is really an auditorium, but it's very flexible. And the startups will learn to pitch in front of an audience here to get well-meaning feedback from our mentors. So it's constructive criticism, so they don't have to worry about what's going to be said. It's all meant to make them better. But other pieces of the facility, for instance, the accelerator space is a space where their corporate headquarters are for about 3 months. And they're welcome to stay longer, by the way, but at least those 3 months they're there. And you see that there's semi-private walls between them. Funny enough, they're socially distanced. We built this all to have enough space between everyone, not knowing that one day that would be a great thing. But they're far enough apart, but they're close enough to interact with each other, because part of the program is also that they interact with each other. And they learn a lot from each other just by being in the same shoes. They're all startups. They're very different startups, but they are all doing the same thing in gearing their startup for a fundraise generally, or a big rollout of some kind. And so that space is meant to have enough privacy for them to do their work, but then also allow for the interactions and those accidental collisions between those teams to start with, as opposed to offices with closed doors. And then there are other areas in this facility that are meant for social interaction, for some of the events we have. Also some cozy corners where you can have a private conversation. So there's lots of little aspects that small and also growing companies can benefit from.
So talk to us a little bit about the creativity. You've got a lot of artwork and some different spaces. The rugs are colorful. Tell us about that, if you would.
Yeah, for sure. So it's meant to be a welcoming and friendly space. It's also meant to be a space that's not intimidating. We have investors coming through the doors here that could probably buy every single one of their startups if they wanted to that day. But that's not how they're going to appear. Everyone here is in startup mode. Everyone is excited with startups. And so the place is modest but colorful, friendly and inviting, encourages interaction and exchange. But we do have offices with closed doors as well. So there's times when you need to have privacy, and we absolutely recognize that. And sometimes you need to be away and just put your head down and work on something, and we have those offices too. But that's kind of the thought behind it all, is to facilitate as many interactions as possible and as many of those random collisions as possible through whatever you can do with architecture.
Well, terrific. This is a wonderful place, and we're going to take a tour on bicycle as we conclude. So let's have some fun.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Here we
All
go.
right, there are our sponsors here on the left side. Yeah. And then our little kitchen here on the left side as well. Motivational posters. And here are a little picture.
Monopoly.
Yeah.
You got some artwork here.
Yeah. And I'll try not to hit those things on the left there. So, and then we have the tightest corner here, and then this is the tightest fit of the hole. So pull your fingers in.
Oh, of course. I don't know that Hubert does bicycle tours of everybody.
Yeah,
We were pretty lucky today.
we're lucky you survived.
Look at this rod.
Yeah. And then we go down this corridor here. It's a conference room where we have a bunch more downstairs as well. So unlimited conference room space. You have an office here.
Colors.
And luckily these offices are not green or yellow on the inside because the light comes in from the outside. So here I need to take a very scary aim at the glass and then turn to make the...
Yeah. Wow.
And then more offices and a little broadcasting studio here as well.
Here's the pennies here.
And that you can guess how many dollars each of those is.
I'm going to guess $20.
Damn, you're good. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I'm the money man.
You are. Okay, so now the difficult part comes because I think I cannot make this clear. Back out of the pitch room.
Oh, look at that.
And then on the right, you have the accelerator area.
Wow.
So those are where all the startup global headquarters are. And we'll go through here. Hey, and you get a nice view too. You could be a brand new startup, have no money, got a $1 million view.
Treated like $1 million. Can't beat that.
It's a lot of fun.
That was so much fun to visit Health Wildcatters. The bike tour was awesome. Hubert really set a high bar for company tours now. Thank you for hosting us. Today, we shared a lot of ideas about creativity and competitive advantage. We spoke with 3 CEOs and a president. We learned from Profit Peak News reporter Elizabeth Baldwin not to ignore the disruptive threats and opportunities from big companies like Amazon. We interviewed Gary and Susie Cravens and gained insight on how to thrive in this competitive landscape, even during a global pandemic. Nelson Valderrama reminded us one of our biggest competitive advantages is our people. And Hubert Zaitchik shared practical ways we can promote creativity and collaboration in our companies. It was a great first episode of Profit Peak for Entrepreneurs, and we hope you'll join us on the next one. Until then, may your cash flow and your profit peak.